Welcome to the next edition of the Car Girls Show with Janice and Jesse.
Hi everyone, we are very excited to be shooting today from our new studio. This is where we're going to be filming all of our episodes.
This is our brand new studio here in Toronto. Go Leafs.
And today's episode, we're going to be talking to you about branding, but not just, the cliche type of term, branding. I mean, we really want to bring you information that you can actually implement and use so that you can kick off your branding so that it starts working for you and generating you business.
And something we see from dealers, because both Jesse and I offer services to car dealerships for advertising, is they jump all over the place.
Yes.
They do something different all the time, and we have trouble getting them to stick with a program and stick with some consistency and keep the same message.
Absolutely. If you're not keeping the same message, I mean, it's not just confusing for everyone that works for you, but it's confusing to, your consumers, your customers. It's all about the consistency, right?
That's a good point about the people who work for you and the people that work in the dealership.
Yeah.
One consistent message that everyone can be communicating about what the dealership is about, what the culture is about in the store, and to have that consistent message.
Yeah, and
available.
I find too that, employees, staff, new cars, service, whatever, everyone kind of just depends on the dealership to do all the advertising and marketing for them. And they don't really have much skin in the game when it comes to the brand side of things, right? They just figure that's kind of handled. And our part is, to handle the sales and the ups that come in the door. But that's just not the case anymore, because people aren't coming through the door to, just get information and to grab a brochure. Right?
Yeah, people are very qualified. I read a stat. People are consuming up to 9 hours of video before they even come into your dealership.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and billions as a whole are being viewed on YouTube every single day. I mean, that stat is it's insane. When I read that, I said, no, that can't be. It's true.
So a consistent brand message that isn't changing is what we're talking about. And I think something that the entire staff can speak to.
Yes.
Like consistently, we have this great divide between sales, between service, between parts. I think a message that brings the dealership together as a whole.
Right.
Now, we were talking about some ideas earlier that we loved.
Yes.
About the culture of a dealership, about what the dealership stands for, about what your customers would say. Why did you buy a car from ABC Honda?
Absolutely.
What made you buy a car here? What does this dealership stand for?
I mean, that brings up a really good point, Janice. Just because you're in sales doesn't mean that you went to school for advertising or for branding, or that anybody trained you or taught you anything about it. And when you think about it, it's a specialty all on its own. I mean, that's what I specialize in. Everybody's got their specialty.
That's why both you and I have a business helping dealerships with their marketing, with their advertising.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about finding out what it is and then sticking with it.
Absolutely. So my point to that was, that we're not blaming anyone for not knowing where to start. And that's part of the reason we have this show, is really to give you some tips and knowledge on how you can get started, because a lot of people kind of halt at that point, right? It's like, I don't know enough about this. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just never going to start.
But when you land on a good message, then stick with it. Don't keep changing your strategy.
Right. So part of the strategy and how you can really start is by asking yourself, if you were to go to one of your, good customers that you've known over time and ask them, why is it that you continue doing business with me? That answer that they give is going to give you a really good understanding
what the customer is going to say,
what their perception is of you, and why they keep coming back. And that really should be something you start incorporating in your message, because other customers, in the future are going to probably be looking for that same thing that differentiates you. Right.
So let's talk about some fun ideas. And we had a couple that came up. Of course, you can have good service and good pricing, but we said, is it pricing that's setting you apart?
No,
because
it's not.
If it is, then you're in trouble. When there's 25, we're like FCA dealerships. Does anyone even know what that means anymore?
I don't know.
It's Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. Personally, I like the term Dodge, but When there's 25 dealerships around somebody, let's say I live in North York, how many Chrysler dealerships do I have within an hour's drive? How
Yeah.
many, Jesse?
I mean, I don't know, but a lot.
A lot. So what's going to set a dealership apart? I can get the same product. Is
Right.
product going to set you apart? I have heard of dealerships who order odd product, so
Right, just to
that
have-
that makes them different.
Right.
Then you've got the dealership who
Which-
orders the lower model and then puts in leather seats and a sunroof, so it looks like the limited edition, and it's not. I mean, you can
Play around with it a
You can
bit.
play around with inventory, but seriously, is that something that's going to set you apart?
I mean, it can help, but it's not going to be the be all and end all. You got to up it. And every time I sit down in a meeting with a, potential client, I ask them what the differentiator is, and they all say, I'm not even lying, they all say the exact same thing, and it's customer service. So if you were thinking this as I was talking about
That
it,
it's customer
that it's
service.
customer service, that you provide this upscale customer service, and that's why people keep coming back. I mean, you got to know that everybody is saying the exact same thing. So
Customer service in these days goes without saying. And
It's
you know
a given.
What? I love what Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm a huge fan,
Yes.
you know that, yay Gary V, is saying is that businesses is going to be like doing business how our grandparents did business, like a small town where it's word of mouth, because the internet has added a brand new layer of transparency
Yes.
to business that you just can't hide behind anymore.
That's right.
So that's going to be out there. But I love the idea of picking something and sticking with it. And a great example is a dealership that loves animals,
Yeah.
that supports the local humane society. We talked
Right.
about a dealership that you had talked about a salesperson, and this speaks to even salespeople branding themselves or salespeople building and expanding on that idea, which was, you had said that salesperson, she
Right.
wore, any
Yeah.
town Toyota, she wore the hat, she went down to the animal shelter.
Right. It was like a once a week thing that she did. She went down to the animal shelter. They selected an animal that maybe had been there for a while.
long time.
Yeah.
Needed their
And
forever home.
Needed a home, and she would talk about the animal. And I mean, she talked nothing about the dealership, but it's a given because she's wearing the shirt, she's wearing a hat or something
And
that's
people
branded.
know that this Toyota store
supports
animals,
Right.
that animals are welcome in your facility, that they give out dog biscuits in service, that everybody, I mean, that's just something that they could
Right.
stick with. Okay, they're putting animals in their ads.
Right.
Where they put, hey, Fluffy needs
Yeah.
a forever home
Yeah.
is going in their ads.
But
So
again,
a
it
theme
has to
that
be
continues.
authentic, though, and that's something
But
also
if
that you
that
have
is
to.
something that that's in the culture of the dealership that they're passionate
Exactly. But
about,
if it's not, and you're not an animal
well,
lover,
you have to find.
don't do it.
You have to find what's going to work in your store.
Yes.
And stick with it. Something that speaks to the culture. Something that.
Or even just, the town that you're in or the city that you're in, what's popular, what's something that's unique to the town that people are aware of, right? And support that initiative.
Sure.
Um,
Whether
yeah.
it's a dealership that supports women's issues,
Sure.
that supports children, that even something simple. There's a Honda dealership here in Toronto. Everybody loves their Ready Honda, and
Yeah.
everybody knows that. It's on their license plate covers.
Right.
It's in their ads. It's top of mind. Oh,
Yeah.
it's something that I can remember. That took time to build. That dealership has been open since 1950.
Right.
That didn't
It's
happen
not
overnight.
overnight.
So you can't keep changing your message.
Exactly. Just like we have this quote behind us here from Elon Musk that talks about perception over time. Because this is not, brands, these major brands don't get built overnight.
No.
And they change. You can look it up, like logos like Starbucks and, other ones, they do change over time. So you got to be okay with that. And you don't have to have all the answers right now. You just have to start. Right?
Yeah, but you can change it once people know who it is. It's the inconsistency that we see. And the other thing we talked about is salespeople, even a sales manager branding themselves. Because very often in the service industry, it's the salesperson, it's the human element. They become the brand. And that's exciting to me. That's exciting stuff.
We've seen, you know, some people do it in our industry as general managers.
Yes.
I'm not going to name any names, but
Sure. Yeah.
you know, we've seen them really brand themselves.
Yes.
And draw attention.
There was that guy who did the Cadillac Kid. That was a great. That was a great brand.
right.
I know another sales guy in the city who was calling himself the Brown Cowboy.
Oh, really?
That was fun. So you know, Barry
There's-
Gray used to do an awesome job of it. Of him and his wife, which were in every ad with their little dog. See a lot of dealerships bringing the dog in as the ambassador.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. So anyways, the point really is, I mean, if you are going to say that you are different in some way, you got to find what that differentiator really is and then be consistent with it.
Consistency.
Because
That's your key.
if you have the idea and you do it once, and this is a lot of people do this, you know, you'll kind of go with it for a little bit, and then maybe you're not getting the results or the attention that you thought you were going to get, and then you stop. And that's exactly the point where you should continue going.
When you're sick of it, then it's starting to resonate with your customers. I always tell that story. They wanted to cancel the Energizer Bunny.
Yes, they did. Right? And that's
Don't
just
cancel
when
your
people
bunny.
don't cancel your bunny. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Find a message, pull it out of your staff, pull it out of your customers, get that branding message, and stick with that. It's going to pay off.
Yeah, and so that concludes our show for today. I hope you
Awesome.
learned something.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about branding, Janice and I have built our brands over the last few years individually, and we are always available to help you guys out any way we can. Please leave your comments below. Tell us what you think, how you've built up your brand.
We want to support car dealers. We want to support salespeople,
Exactly.
because we've both been there and worked
We've
the
been
floor,
there.
and we know that there's not a lot of support out there.
Exactly.
For car salespeople, and we want you to be a success.
Well said, Janice. Till next time, guys.
Thank you.